try to train my dogs not to lick me in the face, not to lick other people in the face. This little brat, this is Spike. Yeah, I finally quit. And I have to warn people when he gets on their lap or they try and pick him up or something. I go, he will try and lick you in the mouth. He goes right for the mouth. I'm just giving you a heads up. And of course they're like going, oh, look at this kid. See? He goes right for the mouth. I guess he's kind of like his dad. Oh, my little brother. I thank the Lord for my dogs all the time. They're such a blessing, such a tremendous blessing. If you don't have an animal in your life, don't shop, actually adopt. There's SPCAs and shelters, and even at the county pound, there are dogs who are craving to have a blessed life with you. Little guy. I'll have people tell me, you realize your dogs stare at you all the time? Well, I guess they do. You are their life. You become the alpha. You're the leader of their pack. You got to think more like a dog instead of like humans. Why won't my dog do this? Why won't my dog do that? Well, would they do that in the wild? How do they react? Well, why don't you find out a little bit about dogs and how they think and how they react and how they're pack animals. So they don't want to be all by themselves. They're very social. Tried to get my mouth again. Excuse me, Spike. I got a show to do, my little friend. You just hang right there if you want. Howdy, I'm CharLee Simons, your host here on Do Not Talk. Rumble.com/Do Not Talk. If you'll be doing me a huge favor if you actually hit the like button right now. Hit that like button. It changes the algorithms, and then Rumble will start sharing my shows more, especially if you comment. Hit the like button and comment. Hey, CharLee, what's going on? Something like that. Hey, CharLee, I bought one of your mugs at charliesimons.com. And I love it. And you're absolutely right. It's the best mug ever. Big old 15-ouncer. Red. I got shirts and hats and all kinds of stuff there too. And you'll be helping this show stay on the air because right now all it does is cost me money to do these. I'm not on YouTube. I am, but I had 2 strikes against me now. One more and they're going to pull the whole channel, kind of like Facebook did. They deleted all my pages just this past summer. Every one of them. And my Instagram too, which is owned by Facebook. It's all Meta now, META, Meta. So when what's his face Zuckerberg showed up at President Trump's inauguration and made a big show about he's going to be kinder and gentler on his platform towards conservatives, lie, just a stinking lie. So share these shows is why I bring that up because otherwise I don't have any way really of letting people know I have a new show on unless you subscribe to this channel. Rumble.com/Do Not Talk. There's a little right next to the like button. There's a bell. Looks like a bell. You click on that and it will notify you whenever I put up a new show. There you go. My guest today is Arthur Schaper. Arthur, I always love whenever I get to talk to him. We talk like at least once a week, it seems like, and because he's always got some fascinating stuff to tell and he does a lot of research. And this guy, man, he's plugged in. And he's a featured writer at townhall.com and several other places now. He just got added, as a matter of fact, for a story he did about our Second Amendment rights, to keep and bear arms. So look him up and follow him. Make him a part of your routine of getting informed about what's going on. He and I are going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about what happened with us going in 30 minutes to get Maduro in and out, not in. Captured like into the helicopter and taken out and brought up to the United States of America to be brought up on international drug trafficking charges and sex trafficking. Got him and his wife too. Come on, you're going. You're not staying here anymore. Best thing that ever happened to Venezuela. Did you see all the videos of people celebrating in the streets? They're ecstatic. They've been under a tyrannical rule for so long. We liberated Venezuela just by getting rid of this criminal and making him pay for his crimes. For President Trump. Oh, click. That's it, CharLee. You said the T word. I'm out of here. Okay, fine. Go. Just go. I don't even try and convince any people anymore that he is indeed the greatest president we've ever had in my lifetime. That's for sure. Okay, Spike. All right. I'm glad that Spike agrees. You're going to stay there, are you, pal? Okay, fine. Did you see what's going on in Minnesota? Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, has announced now he's not going to run for re-election to governor, but he's still refusing to step down after all the corruption has been found with the Somali daycares and all the other joke of a waste of billions of dollars. And then that thing happened with Renee Good, and I showed you the video of what really happened, unlike what the mainstream media showed you, the legacy media. Where that video they showed did not tell the whole story at all. Well, there were several other videos, but they didn't show them. I did. Renee Good did it to herself, and so did her lesbo girlfriend, too. Who, by the way, when she started driving away in that Honda Pilot and her lesbo girlfriend tried to get into the truck, did anybody else? I've never heard anybody else comment on this. Renee Good left her husband behind. She was trying to get into the door to get into the passenger seat, and she backed up a little bit and then made that dart turning right and trying to hit that Border Patrol agent. Whether on purpose or by accident, doesn't matter. She disobeyed a direct order. And that's that. And now you've weaponized your vehicle. Weapons are going to be used to stop you now. That's what happened. And then you got a whole plethora of these clowns now hitting the streets. This is going on right now. These are children. They're freaking children. All right, the Schaper standing by. Let's get him in right now on Do Not Talk. Ready? Ready, Spike? Oh, thanks, Spike. Okay, come on. Dude, hit it. Jeez. Hello, my friend.
Hey, it's good to see you again. There's so much to talk about. Very excited with how the new year has begun.
Let's get to it.
You bet.
What's on your mind?
So, I mean, first thing, thanks for sharing with everybody. Another website is part of the whole Town Hall Salem universe, Bearing Arms. I wrote an article that was specific about the open carry victory that we just had here in California. Ninth Circuit, 2-1. Two judges appointed by Trump, Kenneth Lee and Lawrence Van Dyke. Lawrence Van Dyke should be well known by everybody. He gave a searing dissent against another opinion by video, demonstrating how ammunition and guns and the putting together of it all works. He gave an excellent dissent, going after an opinion which allowed for an ongoing magazine ban to remain in effect in California. But on the flip side, striking down the open carry ban was a big win. This is a huge attack on the gun control wall that all the blue states have tried to put up, violating everybody's natural rights. I couldn't resist. I had watched the entire opinion when you had the state of California. The state's attorney gave some of the most ridiculous arguments. You had the judges sitting there going, so let me see if I understand this. People can apply for a right to carry, but they can't carry if the county has more than 200,000 residents. So that's like, oh, you have a right to drive, but you can't drive unless you want to ride a camel, but you can't ride the camel where there's only urban areas. That's literally what Lawrence Van Dyke asked the state attorney. It's ridiculous. 2-1, they struck it down. Now we know that, Rob Bonta, it's not his money, so he has the opportunity to appeal to an en banc hearing. And there it's hit and miss whether they uphold the Ninth Circuit panel's ruling to strike it down, or they might actually reverse it. Hopefully that'll open up a challenge to the Supreme Court. The court has been hearing more gun rights cases. This is a great trend. Some people were even worried after the 3 justices were appointed by President Trump. They were like, where are the gun cases? There's lots of challenges that we need to have. Blue states are just doubling down on their tyranny, but it's coming fast and furious. And Can you imagine the day will come, my friend? You can go to San Francisco and they can't stop you from carrying a firearm openly. And you know what? Every liberal should be thankful for that day when it comes, because crime will plummet. That's what needs to happen. You have to tell people what they need, even if they don't want it. That's the way it should work. So I'm very excited about that. We can definitely
kind of like taking illegals out of the country.
There you go.
All those people standing outside protesting against ICE and Border Patrol. Do they realize who they're protecting?
Exactly. No, see, this is the issue. It's not about
rapists, child traffickers. That's who you're protecting.
When you were talking about Renee Good, I mean, I want to be careful how I frame this, but there are certain thoughts that I had, but I would say I will frame it this way. She deserved it. She absolutely deserved what happened to her. She was using her vehicle as a weapon of mass destruction. She wanted to kill the ICE agent. She, like a growing phalanx of liberal white Karens, has been brainwashed with this anti-American, pro-immigrant, ahead of citizen madness, and they feel like they are the bravest and best social justice warriors standing against tyranny. They're standing against KKK or Nazism or whatever the hell they think it is. And well, guess what? The fantasies in their head are not matching with the reality. And the reality is they're now getting killed. And you know what? That's exactly what needs to start happening. If you stand in front of if you try to prevent a law-abiding law enforcement officer from doing his job, you're going to get hurt. And if you threaten his life, you're going to die. And that's exactly what needs to happen.
Like that guy we just saw with that Karen standing there screaming at the people in the vehicle, the federal law enforcement vehicle. You want to shoot me in the face? You want to shoot me in the face? I noticed, well, you're not standing in front of the vehicle now, are you?
There you go. And it's really despicable. The fake wife of Aaron Good, we got to call it what it is, not a real. This is so disgusting. So you got the entire phalanx of progressive madness and perversion all wrapped up in this creepy lady. And the fake wife said, drive, 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 basically egging her on, goading her to attack the officer. Oh, you're dead now. And here's the better part. There's been a series of polls done based on party affiliation. Red Eagle Patriot just shared this today. So, of course, Democrats, 90% will say that the officer is wrong. But with the independents and Republicans, nobody's buying the narrative anymore. With George Floyd, sadly, it was very different because a lot of people didn't have all the evidence at the time. But now almost 6 years later, people have picked up on how deceptive, dishonest, destructive the corporate media has become and how progressive leftists want to capitalize, exploit when one of their own gets killed by a police officer doing his lawful duty. It's not working anymore.
And they'll do it the same way, by rushing to the podium to say we have to take away everybody's guns.
And that's not working either. You saw what happened. There was the mass shooting at that Catholic school a few months earlier, and it was, of course, a confused man who thought he was a woman. Here we go again. The progressive left, they're the ones who are dangerous. The guns aren't the problem. The progressive left is the problem. They are the ones. We need progressive leftist control, not gun control. And we see another example of this here.
We need tranny freak control.
We need tranny control. That's it. That's how we solve this problem.
They're the ones who've been perpetrating most of these mass shooting crimes over the last year, at least. They've been the majority of people doing it have been these tranny freaks.
We can even go back. We can go back to the Dylan Roof shooting in South Carolina. I guarantee that Dylan Roof was a leftist as well. Nobody talked about that because we're talking like 10 years prior. The DEI arguments, the race arguments were very easy to promote and everybody bought into it. But corporate media is dead. Alternative media, social media has taken over. Every one of us can be journalists. We can record the truth without the spin, without the bias, without the filter. And everybody could see it within an hour. All the videos released of what Aaron Good did. She threatened the life of that ICE agent. And you know what? There's stories. That ICE agent was attacked by other progressive leftists. That's not the first time that his life was in jeopedy. We can talk about what happened.
Yeah, he was hospitalized for injuries sustained while he was clinging to a vehicle that was driving away and dragged him for at least a block. Yeah, he had already gone through this. So, of course, he's going to be a little reticent to let somebody do it again.
And I say good for him that he shot. And tying it back to the Second Amendment, that's why we have the Second Amendment, because you know what? A gun is the best thing you have against a vehicle coming your way, and you don't have a chance to get out of the way.
It's a great equalizer, as I always say.
It's a perfect equalizer. And the
Yeah.
progressive left, they claim to care about women or people who are weak or disenfranchised in society. Then why do you take away their natural rights? And speaking of rights, why are they fighting for the rights of these foreign criminals? Now, they're already criminals because they're in the country. And then on top of that, they commit fraud, they commit rape, they commit murder and other gang-related crimes. This is absolutely shameful. But you know what? I think President Trump is exploiting the insanity of the progressive left. It's not that they're advocating for, it's more than that. It's that they hate America. It's that they hate our country. They hate our Judeo-Christian heritage. They hate godliness. They hate goodness. They hate right things. They hate the West. And so they're going to support anything that undermines that. And so the latest thing, whether it was Ukraine under the Biden administration, or whether it's Gaza or the so-called Palestinians, now they're jumping in line to support the Somalis, who are bilking us to billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars, and they are perpetrating all kinds of crimes in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. Now we see it in Ohio. I'm sure there's Somali fraud even here in California. Well, we know there is because Governor Newsom isn't opening up the books on the daycare centers. He's trying to hide everything, so we know it's there.
Absolutely it is. They have no concept of self-realization on the left. Last year, all the No Kings protests, no kings against Trump, no kings. We don't want any kings. Those are the same clowns who hit the street saying "Free Maduro."
Oh, brother. So you want to talk about standing with the wrong side of history. Maduro, worse than any king,
who had made himself a king in Venezuela.
There you go. Absolute, total dictator, openly defied election results, seized power. He was not the recognized leader of Venezuela.
He did not win that last election, even with all their cheating.
Yes,
which, by the way, they were instrumental in inventing ways to cheat that were used here in the United States of America.
I think there's a lot of evidence for that. The Dominion machines were connected to Venezuela. I've heard those stories.
We're just getting started learning about that.
This is good. What's disturbing now when you talk about Maduro, so the progressive left, they're lining up with all these perverted people, standing with criminals, putting their own people in the line of fire to be killed by law enforcement agencies. But even we have some people on the woke right that are now championing Maduro. Tucker Carlson, you've got sloppy Steve Bannon, and they're all sounding the alarm.
Dude, I learned that from your article about Steve Bannon. I was extremely disappointed. The fact that he's saying it was illegal for us to go in and take Maduro out. Steve Bannon. Yep. I had no idea because I don't really follow him. I don't really watch him. I just kind of always thought, well, he's at least not fighting for our side. But I didn't know Tucker Carlson had taken the same stance. That's very disappointing.
Yes, they're looking for rage bait. They're looking for clickbait. They want to take the opposite side so they can aggravate or foment interest and activity from the bots, from the foreign nationals that are watching their show. Dave Rubin did an interesting analysis along with Josh Hammer. He wrote it for Front Page Magazine about Grandma Groyper, Megyn Kelly. These are all mainstream media people. You know, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, and you know what? I'm going to put Steve Bannon in that category. The only thing they understand is chasing ratings. They don't have principles. They're not advocates for a clear vision or a set of values. And I know with Steve Bannon, that's really hard to believe, you know, but at the end of the day, the guy was a media mogul who's in it for the money. Ben Shapiro warned us about this guy. I noticed he was at a dinner banquet for family members who'd lost loved ones to illegals. It was hosted by the Remembrance Project. A lot of the angel parents were not there because they had differing issues with the Remembrance Project. But Steve Bannon showed up so that he could be the center of attention, so that he could get all the attention and people would love him and listen to him and follow him more and more. This is the same Steve Bannon who talks about Trump's going to run in 2028. Please stop being silly. Please stop lying to us. Please stop stringing us along. This is ridiculous. We have to have accountability now among all the alternate media platforms and speakers. We've got to do that ourselves. The gatekeepers are gone. Corporate media can't deceive us about Aaron Good. We need to stand up to alternative media when they try to deceive us about Maduro. I'm glad that he's gone. It was a legal execution of a DOJ warrant. This is not the regime change of George W. Bush. This is not an attempt for a wholesale regime change push under the guise and with the money, the full taxpayer backing of the United States. That's not what we're seeing here. We are seeing an expert surgical strike that got the leader out to hold him accountable. Joe Biden, the Biden regime, they went after Maduro. They put out a $25 million bond for for Maduro's capture. Well, Trump got it done. So now the feds have saved us another 25 million, haven't they? But see, this was a totally appropriate action. George Herbert Walker Bush did the same thing to Manuel Noriega. I think that was in Nicaragua. That was 1990. Right. In fact, it was the same day, January 3rd, 1990, Noriega. January 3rd, 2026, Maduro. This was more than appropriate. All the Venezuelans are thrilled. You know, the diaspora as well as the people still at home in the country. There is a leader right now. The vice president took over, but the United States is in a position to say, look, you stole our property, you undermined our industries, you violated our rights, you trafficked drugs throughout the country, you fomented the humanitarian migrant crisis. Venezuela is part of this. I wrote about this in my article for American Thinker, why this is an America First strategy, going after Maduro and fixing Venezuela, at least from the outside. This is about migrants, go back home. You fled your home country. Now you can go back. This is a long-term winning strategy to deal with the illegal immigration problem. Hey, make Mexico great again. Then the Mexicans don't have to invade our country. Make China a decent country. Then the Chinese don't have to sneak across our country. Look at El Salvador. The independent reporter who exposed the Somali, child care center fraud. He went to El Salvador to follow up on migrants leaving the country. And
is that Nick Shirley? You're talking about Nick Shirley? He actually went there.
Well, guess what?
Really?
Salvadorans aren't leaving anymore. They're staying. And now we have Americans going to El Salvador because it's safer, it's cleaner, it's cheaper to live there. It has a very high quality of life. It's improving. I mean, it's almost embarrassing now that you have Latin American countries that are getting stronger, more stable, more
civilized. Look what happened to Chile.
Chile just elected a right-wing government.
Heck yeah.
We're seeing it across Latin America.
It's happening everywhere except Brazil. Brazil is still lefty communist lunacy.
Brazil, Colombia, I think Guatemala. Those three that I know for sure. And yeah, Brazil, of course, is the big problem. You know, that's a huge part of Latin America. But this is the year Jair Bolsonaro's son is running for the president. And he's got a lot of support behind him. And I think he has a chance of taking back the presidency. He's got to do it because Jair, what they tried to do to Trump, they achieved that with Bolsonaro. He's sitting in prison right now for so-called insurrectionist charges, which are ridiculous. Total communist took over. The chief judge on the country's Supreme Court is a communist, an absolute dictator who has struck down freedom of speech, who has struck down natural rights of citizens. And they went after the previous president. They put him in jail. When the current president, Lula da Silva, he was sitting in a jail cell, and rightly so, for all kinds of corruption charges. And then the judge released him and said, well, this wasn't just, they shouldn't have done it. It was an orchestrated coup, all under Bolsonaro's nose. It's too bad he didn't act more aggressively to deal with it. Let's hope that his son can take back Brazil. But all of this, what's the other left-wing government? How can I forget? Mexico. Mexico is literally run by cartels. We have had a serious border problem with Mexico for decades. That's the starting point. All the illegals are coming through the southern border, and the Mexican government has been aiding and abetting this all this time. Trump is doing something about it. I love what he said. Scheinbaum needs to wake up and pay attention. The president of Cuba better pay attention, because President Trump is not afraid to exert some force. They have reshaped the Monroe Doctrine to make it the Donroe Doctrine. We have an interest. We want to have a say in what happens in the Western Hemisphere. I love this. What Trump did with Maduro was excellent. I got some pushback from the article that I gave to American Thinker. One of the readers suggested that I was a little naive. There are some Trump supporters who are starting to see Trump acting like Bush 2.0. They don't want us to be bogged down with long-term regime change. I do respect that. It is okay to have some skepticism. I don't want the United States to send in troops to have to govern the country. I don't think we have to. This is a different situation. Venezuelans had a free country. Venezuelans had free elections. They've had a 26-year lesson to learn the terrors of communism. The people want it out. They don't like the opposition government either. I think that Machado, the Nobel Prize winner, she should be given a chance to have leadership in the country. I think it's appropriate for President Trump and Secretary of State Rubio to start leaning on the government and say, look, this is what we expect from you now, because we're not going to let you push drugs, push fentanyl, push
immigrants. We're cleaning up the neighborhood.
Here's the other thing, too, I got to talk about.
We're cleaning up the neighborhood.
There you go. And speaking of the neighborhood, the Venezuelan government regime, the tyranny, they were releasing the worst of the worst from their prisons. You had all kinds of criminals. They just flooded our country.
For 4 years.
For 4 years, Tren de Aragua was just the tip of the iceberg. The prisons were so bad in Venezuela. There's a story on Reason Magazine. They went into one of their reporters went into the Venezuelan prisons. They turned into their own governments. The prisoners literally take over and they run everything. The gangs run everything. And then they subordinate everybody into different levels of power. They create their own hierarchy. They created their own marketplace. The irony is they had a better economy than the rest of the country did. That's the only thing that was good about it. But that's the point. President Trump sounded the alarm. These countries were releasing the worst of their worst and flooding our country. Venezuela suddenly was a lot safer. Sure, because the worst of the worst was making our country less safe. We absolutely had an interest in taking down Maduro and demanding some order, and Venezuelans need to take care of their country and stop running to ours.
And thank you for mentioning, and by the way, correctly pronouncing Tren de Aragua.
Yes.
You said it correctly. I hear everybody in the media pronouncing it wrong. Yeah, they say Tren de Aragua is what they've been saying. That's not it. It's a town in Venezuela where the prison is, that the people who started the freaking gang, who worked, some of them worked for the railroad. Tren stands for train of Aragua is what that means, and everybody mispronounces it. So that's why I say, see, man, turn to Arthur. This dude is dialed in.
Yes,
he does extensive research, and I appreciate your writing so much. President Trump, our own fellow MAGA, Make America Great Again, is not a cuss word to me. That's a great thing. I want to make America great again, and it's happening. And everybody's saying, well, he needs to stop concentrating on what's happening to the rest of the world and concentrate on here. No, wrong. And please understand this, if you've been one of those saying that. We have to clean up the neighborhood, because that's where the money's coming from that is fomenting and increasing the support of what's happening here with very subversive groups coming in, these NGOs, these non-governmental organizations that are getting tremendous amounts of money. We cut off USAID. Fantastic. USAID gone out. That was just one of the resources for all this cash. Criminal activities. These are frickin' mafia. They treat it like mafia. Everything's drug trafficking, laundering of money. You start businesses to be able to do that. These NGOs are doing that. And we got to clean up the neighborhood. We got to cut off this flow of cash. Venezuela was brilliant. And President Trump said, okay, here's the deal. You got like 50 billion barrels of oil sitting there. Did I say billion? It might be million. I might be wrong on that.
Right, 50 million. And right away, we have tips on that right away.
Million.
You notice the gas prices are going down, and
that oil was going to China. That oil was going to different countries like that who hate us and want to see us go away.
That's where that
oil was going to be. It was being purchased by them. President Trump stopped that, and we're buying that oil at market price. So they'll have an influx of cash coming in to help support whatever direction they're going to go with their new government. We're going to assist them, but we're not going in like we did in Afghanistan, which was ridiculous, to try and establish a democratic form of governance. No, we just took out the nutball who was a tyrannical dictator. You could say, well, didn't we do the same thing with Saddam Hussein with Iraq? Yeah, we did, and that was a tremendous mistake. He was a bad man.
I wrote about this with the American Thinker piece. The problem there was they disbanded the military. That was a big mistake. Donald Rumsfeld admitted it. We should not have done this. They took away almost every institution that established order in the country. Big mistake. President Trump didn't knock down every head of state in Venezuela. He took out that specific dictator because of the specific crimes that he committed. I wrote another article for Town Hall. It has to do, does the Republican Party have a chance to defy history and keep the House? One of the things I pointed out to Trump, these foreign policy efforts matter. They are absolutely important to our domestic agenda. It's just that President Trump has to connect the two. He has to make it very clear. As long as he sticks to the fact that this is about combating mass immigration, illegal immigration, restoring our borders, restoring our sovereignty. And look at the gas prices. They've gone, even in California, I saw the gas, I haven't seen it below 375 in a year, 2 years. It actually went to, now this is California. Everybody else is laughing at us. In Austin, Texas, they had the gas, it was pumping at 179. 179 a gallon in Austin, Texas. You've got in Oklahoma, gas is below $2 a gallon. It's happening all over the country. That's a domestic win, and Trump better take credit for that because he opened up the oil markets. And here's something else too. You pointing out the foreign policy connection. This is a great way not only to bankrupt China, isolating China, destroying Iran. Cuba, their lifeline was Venezuelan oil. It's gone. Wouldn't we like to see this communist narco state completely dismantled? That's only 90 minutes off the coast of our, off our southern coast. That would be another huge win. That would also put an end to the migrant crisis.
You're talking about Cuba.
I'm talking about Cuba. That president,
which, by the way, because Maduro did not trust his own military, it was Cubans who were guarding Maduro.
There you go.
And now that's been taken away.
That's gone. And let's talk about Ukraine. President Trump said, I'm going to end this in a day. I don't blame him for it. The facts on the ground have gotten worse and worse. Putin is on death ground. He has to win or his regime is gone. Ukraine can't stop or they'll disappear. So it's death ground for both of them. But what was propping up Putin also was that limited oil market with Venezuela, with China. They've lost another ally now that Maduro is gone. Putin is getting more and more isolated. Assad is gone. The Iranian regime, the Ayatollahs are about to be toppled. Maduro is gone. I think we're going to see the end of this Ukraine war, but it's just nobody's putting this together. Trump going after Venezuela weakened Putin as well. Not one American life is lost. We didn't have to send a bunch of foreign aid either. Just take care of the other bad
30 minutes in and out. 30 minutes.
That's all it took. This is brilliant on many levels. I respect people's skepticism. We don't want a long-term investment. I don't think we have to see that. I do think President Trump has to be really careful. All the talk about removing the guy in Cuba, removing Putin, or removing look what happened with Colombia. I am very confident. Look, he said that guy in Colombia, Pedro, whatever his name is, better watch out. Well, Pedro changed his tune, came up to the United States, had a very different attitude, says, okay, we're going to work with you now. It changed it. Look at that. He forced his hand to start cooperating with the United States. And there's an election this year in Colombia, too. And the polls are predicting the right-leaning candidate is going to win there, too.
That's awesome.
Colombia is a big problem. Narco, lots of drugs coming out of there. But my big thing is Mexico. I want Scheinbaum out. That is a big deal. She is literally a puppet of the cartels. Yeah. She allowed a bunch of cartel thugs to go off scot-free, and there have been protests all over Mexico because of this creepy lady. I pray to God we can do something necessary. I would have no problem. Now, there's my exception. American troops, let them march into Mexico. I'm fine with that because we're at war with the cartels, and they run that country. Run them into the ground. That's what needs to happen. That is the one time I would totally support an invasion of American troops into a foreign country right now. Mexico.
Wow. Another amazing thing that's happening that the media is not showing you, on purpose not showing you. And now there's a media blackout and an internet blackout, and we don't know what's going on right now, other than I am telling you, it is mass death and destruction of the Ayatollahs and the radical Islamic freaks who are running the country of Iran and have since Ayatollah Khomeini. The protests going on in Iran are amazing to watch. What we could have seen, what we did see, of hundreds of thousands of people in the streets
Yeah.
protesting against this tyrannical religious dictatorship that's been controlling Iran for so long. The people have finally had enough, and they are rising up. Well, now there's a complete blackout. There's no, they even blocked Starlink because Elon Musk said, "Yeah, I'll open up Starlink to all of y'all, so you can still be seeing what's going on. You can communicate with each other." No, they've shut that down.
Yeah.
And we don't know. We haven't had anything coming out of there. What's happening? But I'm telling you, it's death and destruction on an enormous scale, and I hate it. So pray for the people of Iran.
Yes.
Pray for those people. Pray for that they are able to be freed from this tyrannical religious zealot dictatorship that's been controlling their lives for so long.
Yep.
And our media is not talking about it, and I hate that. It makes me really angry. You can't hate the media enough. Just trust me on this. I've been in the media all my life. You can't hate them enough.
Imagine Aaron Good as a bunch of journalists, and that's the corporate media. They hate the West. They hate America. They hate our Constitution. They want to promote anything that's anti-Western. They will cry and they will weep about what's happening in Gaza because of the hatred of that Western country, Israel. They will support the Somalis and their crimes. But when you look at another minority population, the Persian community, and you see their home country that's been overrun by these evil ayatollahs oppressing them for 47 years now. And we have every right to see them come down, putting aside the interests of the people in that country. They destroyed our embassy. They went after our infrastructure. They have routinely breathed nuclear threats against our country. President Trump, he directed a surgical strike to take out their nuclear capabilities because they have been targeting us. Many pundits, Thomas Sowell is one of them, has routinely raised the alarm about Iran, a nuclear Ayatollah Iran. They have no limits. They want the Mahdi to come back as soon as possible, and it's up to them to make it happen. That's how the Islamic eschatology, the view of how to make the end of the world come about. It's up to them to make it happen rather than the Christian world.
This has to happen. So stop wanting President Trump to take care of everything here in the U.S. and ignoring the money that's coming in to keep eroding us from within.
That's the other thing too. And speak, there we go again. Iran has been propping up the proxies like Hezbollah, Hamas, these Islamic terrorist groups. They have cells in the United States. They are operating in this country as well. This idea that it's only the Middle East and we shouldn't care, that is ridiculous. From 9/11 to the present day, this country has sustained one Islamic attack after another. The Fort Hood shooting. We could talk about the Uzbeki who rammed his bus into a station in New York City. This was the end of the Obama administration. There was a debate that took place between I can't remember the names right now, but they were talking about all of the Islamic attacks that the United States and other countries have sustained. This is something that we can't ignore. Foreign policy does matter, but Trump has done it really well, where you can take out their power source without committing an American troop or risking the lives of our troops.
It'll be interesting to see what happens
because of our tax dollars to this, because that's the thing people are worried about. We don't want Iraq 2.0, but the problem with the Tuckers of the world and the sloppy Steves of the world is they want to live in that frame of reference from 20 years ago. They don't want to look at the ground today. They don't want to look at the facts today. They don't want to look at the realities today. They want to just keep feeling sorry for themselves and stir up outrage and keep getting clicks while a lot of the world is in trouble and it harms us. And Trump is doing something about that.
And well, I don't know if you know, well, you always know everything that's going on. But President Trump has now sent a message to the Iranian people. We're coming in and we're going to rescue you. We're going to make this end.
I wonder how he's going to do it. He's got to be really careful how.
He's already said he's going to. We are going to.
I'm interested to see how he does it. If he's going to do another set of bombings on key targets, I think that would be the way to go. I don't see how sending troops in is going to assist. I think that would actually be counterproductive. This is the Iranian people. This is their revolution, but for him, or restoration rather. But if he's able to say, we have your back and we'll support you with push, do it. Tighten up the sanctions. He issued blanket tariffs on any country that's doing business with the Ayatollahs. That's the way. That is perfect. You don't have to lift a finger. Or
you take away their money. You take away their money, and they lose, and that's it. It takes away their power. But in the meantime, people are living in squalor and starving to death. And I just hate it. I hate what's going on right now in Iran. But yet, I also am absolutely relieved, but I just feel so badly for them, and I really hate that our media is ignoring it.
You know what? But it shows they're not really media anymore, are they? They're a small
Yeah.
propaganda arm now. There is plenty of on the ground media that is documenting the people rising up. I've read reports about Kurdish support, Kurdish fighters in Western Iran. They have taken over cities in that area. You have students that have taken over the palace in Tehran. You have generals who are defecting to the people. And here's the other reason why it's different. There's not a movement here to remove the power, and there's no question. There's questions about who's going to take over. There is the crown prince Reza Pahlavi, who is the son of the Shah who was deposed. He is ready to step in and restore the monarchy. And yes, it now to be a constitutional monarchy of some sorts, because the Shah was actually pretty progressive as far as like real rights. I'm not talking like.
Well, Iran was thriving when the Shah.
It was growing. It was booming. It was just a flourishing country until the communistic elements in the student bodies joined up with the Muslims, the Red Green Alliance, and they took over the country.
And they're doing it here.
That's what they're trying to do in the United Kingdom. They're doing it in France right now.
Yeah.
And let's pray to God that the people in those countries learn the lesson, see what's happening in Iran, see what's happening in Saudi Arabia. Even Syria is starting to turn around. People had their fears, and rightly so, about the new president who pushed out Bashar al-Assad, but he put a Christian in his cabinet. They had Christmas trees in the center square in Damascus for the first time in years. We're seeing things turn around. And with Iran, this is just a huge... This will be a massive win. It will completely demolish the worldwide Islamic terrorist network. Hamas is gone. Hezbollah gone, because that's been their source of money. And here's the thing, too, regarding money, Iran, it's gotten so bad, the Iranian currency literally cannot be exchanged anymore. You go to any exchange rate platform or process, no exchange possible. The Iranian currency is zero.
And they're
worthless,
part of BRICS, aren't they?
Literally worthless now. That is an absolute death blow to the regime.
Right? They're part of BRICS. They're part of BRICS.
Yes, they are. And this is thank you for bringing BRICS up too, because that's another reason Venezuela was going to join BRICS, and that was going to serve as a countervailing force against the American dollar. This is smart. If the American dollar loses its reserve currency status, we're in big trouble. Trump is foreseeing this. Now Congress has got to get its act together and cut the spending. That's another fight.
And get rid of the filibuster. Yeah. But we got to show up for the midterm elections this coming summer.
Yes, and lower gas prices, that's a great thing to campaign on. Lower food prices is a great thing to campaign on.
California media is not showing you what gas prices are like in the rest of the country.
But you and I can see it. That's what matters.
So it's inflated by the highest taxes in the nation on fuel and vehicle registration. It's inflated purposefully to first of all get us out of gas-powered vehicles for their little green Star Trek utopia, and also it's another great way to increase the tax. It's just another tax,
sucking more money to give it to illegals to prop up the labor unions and all the NGOs that vote Democrat. Yeah. You know what? The next time we've got to talk about the California gubernatorial election. I think with how Trump is expanding and improving the trajectory of this country, it's more 51-50. Republicans can hold the House. I think that we can see some good outcomes even here in California. People do see the lower gas prices. They know it ain't Gavin Newsom. They know it's Trump. They know it's opening up the oil supply in Venezuela. And when you have China no longer taking it away, we don't have that competition anymore. Lower gas prices means lower transportation costs, means lower food
but Gavin
costs.
Newsom, it's not an accident that all these refineries are leaving California, have left and are still leaving. Phillips 66 done now. Valero done. Chevron's already left. You limit the amount that we're able to produce here in California, which supplies so many other states around us, Nevada and Arizona, just to get the predominance of their gasoline, their refined oil from us. Well, now our refineries are shut down, so you squeeze out the supply, prices stay high. It's not an accident. This is orchestrated. Nope. But I don't know how to fix this. Maybe Texas can increase the amount of refineries they have on their coast. New Mexico won't. That's a whole bunch of leftist freaks. But the oil is here. Kern County, where I come from, for heaven's sake, still has so much there.
Yes.
And Gavin Newsom is the worst thing that ever happened to this state. Worst thing that ever happened. But I can't blame him. I blame you. If you've not even bothered to vote, you're not even show up in the primary elections. Seriously, I'm sorry if you take offense at that. But if you haven't been voting, you haven't been voting against this, trying to stop this, or you've used the lame ass excuse of, well, my vote doesn't count. You're absolutely right. Actually, no, it's wrong. It counts towards the leftists because they use your vote illegally. They will use your information to vote for you. That's happening. And it's about to all come out. So if we get a Republican governor this year, I'll be stunned. But it'll just be another Arnold Schwarzenegger thing all over again with everybody else on the left.
I am cautiously confident. I like a lot of the candidates. I really do.
No, I do too. And I'm not saying that about the candidate himself. Arnold Schwarzenegger actually had some great ideas and tried to implement some great things. And the left swelled up against him and took all this money and their little ad campaigns because Governor Schwarzenegger was trying to do it the right way by making sure it went to a vote. So people got.
Here's the thing. Chad Bianco, there was a great debate forum, Patriots for Freedom. They hosted a debate forum with 5 of the candidates in Garden Grove. It was last week, and I got to attend it. You had Bianco, you had Steve Hilton, you had Daniel Mercury, you had Herms, and then you had David Serpa, and they were all there. And I just put it out there. Chad Bianco is my first choice. I like him. Current sheriff, elected twice in a blue county, stuck to his guns, literally opened up CCW, shall issue, stood up to BLM, prayed and dissipated their attempt to burn the city. He was able to calm them down. They prayed together and they went their way nice and quiet.
That wasn't a prayer, brother. That wasn't a prayer, though. I disagree with you on that. That was not a prayer. I saw the video.
You could agree to disagree.
Video on one of my shows.
I'm loving this. I don't mind it being able to share with your viewers. You can literally hear there's Gun Owners podcast. I was listening to them. He said to Black Lives Matter, I can't make them pray. This is the other sheriff's deputies. I can show you that video. But here's the thing that really stood out for me. Black Lives Matter kneeled with him. You didn't see that anywhere. They knelt with him. So it's okay. We can disagree. It's all right. Steve Hilton's not a bad guy. I never saw that.
I don't know why you're saying that. I never saw that. Have you seen videos?
I'll send it to you. I absolutely will. Because I've seen all these law enforcement officers, they did the kneeling and BLM stood. But their Black Lives Matter knelt with him. I'll show it to you. I totally respect that. People are getting a lot of confusion because of corporate media, but this also shows the alternative media is getting kind of woke, or they're kind of losing their marbles a little bit. Some people, I think, like Steve Hilton. He has a lot of money. He's raised the most, but you know what? It's not enough. Money isn't enough. Just ask Hillary Clinton. Just ask Kamala Harris. She had $2 billion and wasted it, and Trump still won, swept all the swing states. My hope is 2 Republicans in the top 2, Hilton and Bianco, and then
wouldn't that be awesome?
First choice. But Daniel Mercury's a great guy. Serpa's the only one I don't like. Serpa talks like a communist. He wants to nationalize oil. He wants to nationalize water. His words, not mine. His words. He wants to He's talked about nationalizing healthcare, and then he said, "Oh no, I don't really want to do that." Well, wait a minute. You just can't say that and then switch on me. He wants to cap credit card interest rates. That's communism. That's price controls. Nixon did it. Bad. Democrats do it. Bad. This is not the way. We cannot give up free enterprise in our constitutional network and framework and call it nationalism. That's the only thing. That was a big no for me. I had a big problem with that. He's the only one. But the others, Herm's very bold. I like what he had to say too. But let's get 2 Republicans, 2 non-Democrats at the very least. I think we can. It's possible. These Democrats are so arrogant. They're so greedy. Nobody's going to give ground. You've got Porter. You've got Calderon. You've got Becerra. You've got Swalwell. You've got Steyer, and they're all sucking up the oxygen in the room. We could get 2 Republicans. It could happen.
Wouldn't that be something, man?
I
hope you're right. I hope I'm wrong. I don't have that kind of confidence on our electorate, and nothing's been done about all the voter fraud. So I don't have your kind of confidence, but I hope I'm wrong.
That's fine. Look, I was not going to vote for Trump. I was going to write in DeSantis. I was so disappointed with how the campaign had progressed. I'm glad I was wrong. I was wrong. I did vote for him. I'm glad my suspicions were wrong. He has doubled, gone beyond my expectations. I'm very pleased. I'm going to give anybody who's the Republican candidate the same opportunity. I'll give the voters of California that option too. Gloria Romero just announced for lieutenant governor. God bless her. If she's the only one, she's got my vote. I got to learn about that office too. I don't
There's
know. Voters are
EB.
changing little by little. We're still having
I can't
issues,
think of
but
I can't think of EB's last name, but she's a conservative and a Christian, strong believer. EB Lynch is
okay.
also
And
running
she's
for
running for
lieutenant
lieutenant
governor.
governor. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll look her.
So
I'll
who's
check
this
her out.
woman you just mentioned? I don't know about her.
Gloria Romero. Now she used to be a Democrat. She was the Senate Majority
Oh,
Leader. Then she became a
never
Republican.
mind.
She was school choice.
Yes.
So I hear your point. There's
Yes.
those are the issues we're
She's
dealing with.
got a great story to tell too, and she's very honest about it. I saw what happened, especially during the COVID shutdown, and I can't be a part of that party. And she left. She left.
And that's the thing, and that's why I love Bianco. You know, I don't. Okay, so I've explained how he prayed with Black Lives Matter and dissipated that. But I'll tell you what, even if he danced the Watusi with Black Lives Matter, I don't care. This guy stood up to Gavin Newsom. He stood up to the COVID lockdowns. He stood up to the health mandates. I was in Riverside County doing a Stop the Steal rally. I could go to a restaurant. I didn't have to wear a stupid mask. And I'm in LA County where they were still imposing the stupid mandates, but not in Riverside. And why? Because
you're absolutely right. It's because the sheriff himself said, no, we're not going to enforce that law.
And he
that
went
mandate.
on public.
Not a law. Governor can't make
this
law.
is the thing, folks. I mean, people need to really understand this. God bless Daniel Mercury. God bless Herms. But they weren't in elected office. If you were in office and you had power and you risked that power and you risked the funding from Sacramento by doing the right thing, you get A++ from me. And that's why I like Bianco. I don't hate the other guys. I'm all about positive. That's where I'm coming from. But if Hilton's the guy, I'll vote for him. If Mercury makes it is the only one, I'll vote for him. If Herms is the only guy, I'll vote for him. But it ain't going to be a Democrat.
Because I'll never vote for anything with a D in front of their name because I know what I'm going to get. I know they lie. They act like they're one thing, but then once they get into positions of tremendous power, their true colors, the snake in them comes out.
Exactly.
Like Governor Hairdo. People stop. Well, he looks nice. Oh, he says the right thing, so on and so forth. That's ridiculous. Please go deeper. Please. And get registered to vote. Register2vote.ca.gov. If you're not yet, please do. Register2vote.ca.gov. Do you realize how much we need you to show up in the primary election this coming June? Do you realize how much we need you? This is life and death right now, as far as I'm concerned. This is not a battle between Democrat and Republican. This is a battle of good versus evil. Truly. And I'm not saying every Republican is good. No, there's some evil ones too. But it's better than what we've been getting. Anything's better than what we've been getting. Everything's better. I'd rather see a rusted out fire hydrant that's been tagged by every male dog in town be the governor of the state of California than another Democrat.
You might get your wish. Oh man.
Oh brother, I love talking to you. You're a kick every time. Thank you so much, my friend. Oh, where do we find you, by the way? Let's talk about your blog spot and
lots of places. aschaper1.blogspot.com. I put up some updates there. I'll start uploading my articles published on other sites to that blog spot. Most importantly, though, massresistance.org. I have never stopped in the pro-family fight, fighting LGBT perversion of all forms. Another reason I like Chad Bianco, he supported freedom of speech and calling to the freedom to leave homosexuality and transgenderism. Nobody talks about that. I'll send you that information later too.
Good. Please do.
So that's what it really amounts to. You can email me, ArthurSchaper@hotmail.com. I don't care about hate mail, good mail, love mail, whatever. You can send it to me.
Is that ArthurSchaper@hotmail or a shopper?
Arthur Schaper? ArthurSchaper@hotmail.com. You can email me that way.
Okay, gotcha. Man, you're awesome. Thank you, brother. Talk to you soon. Always love talking to him. I hope you enjoy it too, and I hope you share these shows because you're getting information here that you're not going to get in the not only in the mainstream media, but apparently supposed people on the right that we've been trusting. Very disappointed about Steve Bannon. Tucker Carlson, I know some of the stuff he said too, especially, I don't know if he's anti-Israel. I always believe that he was like saying, why are we sending them all this money? They're a very wealthy nation. And that's kind of how it started. And that's what I believe, because I watched him on Fox and I'd hear him say these things. I'll go, yeah, that's a good point. You're right. We are sending them an awful lot of money. Why do we continue doing this? But why target Israel when they're one little country in the middle of a sea of people who despise them and want them wiped off the face of the earth, an entire people group? There's so many others that we've been giving money to that I didn't hear Candace Owens talk about, or Tucker Carlson, or Steve Bannon. It's always about Israel. Oh, well, it's just me. CharLeeSimons.com. You want to buy some merchandise, please do. You'll be helping the show stay on the air. CharLeeSimons.com. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. But most importantly, America bless God.